Tikona Digital is best described as a company competing with the big telcos in India in areas that they claim that they can compete fiercely. And that area is not telephony services but wireless broadband internet. Co-founded by ex-Reliance man Prakash Bajpai as recent as 2008, Tikona Digital had a rough start amid several connectivity and customer services issues. Yet the company was able to get its services together quickly and was able to bring in a host of investors in 2010. Tikona offered 70% stake in the company to InDivision India Partners, Oak Investment Partners and Goldman Sachs, raising $107.5 million in funding. The company took another major leap when it won the licenses for 5 circles during the 2010 4G spectrum auctions. In just 3 years, the company has revenues of a little over 68 crores. With such rapid growth, the company saw interest from Malaysian telecom operator Axiata last year, who were close to picking up an 18.5% stake but could not agree with Tikona's $1 billion valuation. Now, in 2013, the company is on the cusp of rolling out 4G operations in India and is in the market to raise 1,000 crores. In this exclusive interview with VC Circle, Prakash Bajpai talks about the consolidation of Tikona's operations to prepare for its 4G services rollout and his fundraising plans, which could see a strategic investor.
I think we need to address this in the context of the landscape of opportunity that is there in India. India has seen in the last decade a fantastic growth in the voice telephoning market.
Yes.
And that kind of demonstrates the kind of consumption power that a country like India can have. From 9 million to 900 million mobile phones, all of that in 9 years, I think it's a remarkable story of success. And that just proves that if you place the product in the market at an affordable price point, then we love to consume.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there is a similar opportunity in India for building a very large scale internet enabled business. At this time, there is a crisis of connectivity.
Okay.
Because India, for some reasons, could not invest in the landline infrastructure, which has been the prime vehicle for providing broadband connectivity for the homes, for the businesses, for the small medium enterprises. And then of course now people are expecting to replicate the home broadband experience on the smart devices, the powerful mobile devices that they are beginning to carry. But today in India we are really in a very, very bad situation. The overall penetration in the country of broadband, you are aware of that, is kind of 1% penetration, and that compares very poorly with countries like China, Indonesia, which are similar kind of economies. So there is a huge opportunity here. The reason that the connectivity is not available is primarily because there are no networks available. World over, people have got the broadband connectivity on the back of DSL, on a copper wire or on a cable connection. And in India, both these plans are not there.
Yeah.
Right? And the wireless, when you try to build a capacity, then it requires a lot of spectrum. And spectrum is once again a very scarce and natural resource. So these are some of the constraints within which you need to see. So the goal, the vision that we had when we founded the company Tikona 4.5 years ago was to really do some work which can overcome some of these endemic constraints and really deliver a wireline equivalent quality using wireless technology.
Okay.
Now, it's a task which nobody in the world has done so far. So it was very audacious in that manner of speaking, that here is a company which is having a small little capital of an entrepreneurial setup, and is going to really create an ecosystem by which we can deliver mass connectivity at the mass affordability price point. So this was the goal that we had. And in the last 3 years of our operation, that's what we've been trying to perfect. So today we have actually been able to build a wireless network for the first time in the world, which actually delivers a wireline quality. When I say wireline quality, I'm talking about not some MBs of usage on your 3G phone. I'm talking about 20 gigabytes, 30 gigabytes, even 100 gigabytes of download for the multiple devices that you use in the home. It's a very different kind of problem that we are trying to solve. And the price points that you're willing to pay are almost 1/20th or 1/30th that of what you would pay for 3G connectivity.
Yes.
Right? So solving this problem, this dual challenge of creating the capacity in the wireless network without any spectrum cost, which is to use an unlicensed band, which is the model that we chose. So today we have actually built that network. We have now built a network in 25 cities, top cities of India, have created a network capacity of around 1.6 million customers of wireline variety.
Okay.
That means each customer getting a speed experience of 4 Mbps and be able to consume around 20 to 30 gigabyte of download a month, which is like 20 high definition movies in a month.
What is the total customer base, sir?
So today we have now active base of around 230,000 customers.
Okay.
Right, and of course if you count the one which are the total gross connections that we have, is now close to 300,000 connections.
300,000.
Right, and
Okay.
we have now the enterprise connections, so we have close to over 12,000 SMB connections and 1,400 large corporates.
Okay.
So we also are now catering to the enterprise business.
So you're also giving them proper LAN services as well.
Yeah, we provide them all kinds of VPN services. We have MPLS VPN, wide area network applications. All kinds of data connectivity, and which is again very high order SLAs.
Okay.
So today we are very strong and powerful in the BFSI sector. So a lot of the banks, the financial services company are connected.
Alright, so I wanted to get to the topic of now 4G, and that is one thing that Tikona has been really in the news for, because, well, 5 years of operations, that is the first major milestone that they will want to break into. Now, you had bid in 2010 for 5 circles. These are Gujarat, Rajasthan, and some of the northern states. You were planning to launch somewhere by the end of 2013. Are you on track with that, for that?
Yeah, that's what the goal is, and I think we've done a lot of work in that direction. Essentially, the network that we are running today is also a 4G network. So we use a 4G Wi-Fi network. All 4G networks are OFDM networks. They use techniques like smart antenna, beamforming, which is what we are using in our current architecture as well. It's just that I am running it right now on an unlicensed frequency band.
Okay.
Tomorrow we'll start to run in a licensed frequency band. So the work that we have done in the last 3-4 years is going to be hugely applicable to when we start to build the 4G LTE based network, which is what we are planning to do. And again, the work cut out for us is very large and enormous, and we are now in the process of arranging the funds for a large scale deployment. But before that, we will of course do the pilot city launches, which is what we...
How are you going to roll that out? Because we've got reports saying that first you will roll it out probably in Gujarat and then Rajasthan, then move northward.
So that's right. So you want to basically pick up few large urban centers and perfect the technology ecosystem, even as the devices are gradually going to appear. Right. So today 4G smartphones are still to become very common and affordable in the hands of the masses, which is something. The good news is that we have got large number of operators in China who are doing a countrywide deployment in the same band as what India has got for the 300 megahertz band. So they'll be deploying LTE TVD architecture as it is called in India. The biggies like Reliance and Bharti are committed to the same technology. So we are hoping that they will solve the problem of the device ecosystem.
Okay.
Because it's like a chicken and egg situation, right? I mean, when the device comes and the network is there, when the network will become useful when the devices are there.
Yes.
So somebody has to really crack the problem. And we think that we are in the mainstream direction, as all these big operators are going to make massive investment and build an LTE ecosystem. Now, until then, it's not that we are not going to be running the LTE, but today we are focused. See, there are two types of data consumption. One is the data that you consume in the indoor conditions. The second is the data that you consume while you're on the move. Right? And world over, it's a global statistics. More than 80% of data you consume while you're in the indoor conditions. So you're using YouTube when you're sitting inside the home, or you're doing your application in your office, right? Not while you're walking on the road. So 80% of data, whether it's generating from a smartphone or from a tablet or a phablet or a laptop or even an internet TV, it's all happening when you are indoors. So home, office, and then interestingly these public footfall areas. So you look at things like malls, hospitals, where you are there for hours on end. Right, either hanging around there or doing shopping or waiting for somebody. Right, so those are the areas which are really becoming large traffic hotspots. And our goal right now, we have worked out our strategy that we will go into this toughest area of work. Because most of the mobile telcos are focused on naturally what is the easier piece to solve, which is the mobile broadband, which is the mobility kind of application.
So you want to go into commercial?
So we are going into the as I said, so all these customers that I counted are not mobile customers. These are all giving me 600 rupees ARPU. Right. So these are heavy lifters. They create a lot of usage in the network, and so home, office, and public footfall area. That's where we will create our dominance. Okay. Right, and we also are planning to use the dual layer architecture. So we'll not just use LTE, we will use LTE along with Wi-Fi. Okay. And the reason for that again is straightforward, that Wi-Fi creates a ubiquitous interface, client interface. Okay. I mean, Wi-Fi is the most prolific client device that you will have in all kinds of devices. Everything has got Wi-Fi. So then the dependency on a LTE smartphone to become available, which is something Tikona cannot control. Okay. Yes, China can of course influence and Reliance can influence. We are hoping that they will influence and create an ecosystem like they have done it in the past. Okay. Then of course we will move towards the mobile broadband, which is of course a premium revenue market. All right. But in terms of size of the revenue opportunity, the indoor data consumption is a equally large opportunity. Although you need to do traffic handling of almost 10 times more than what you are doing in the mobile. Okay. So
the first point is about the pricing. Now you've mentioned that before that your pricing is going to be somewhere between 2 paisa to 5 paisa per MB. Yeah, that is significantly lower than what the other players have already made known. Bharti Airtel is somewhere 13 to 15, and while SL is also something a little higher than that.
Yeah, there is no way any 3G technology or even 4G technology can match with our cost structure. So that's why we said Tikona vision was centered around building the cheapest gigabyte factory. Okay. Right? I don't even count megabyte. I'm used to gigabyte denomination, which mobile guys will be scared to talk about, right? So we are producing gigabytes today. So we produce today a gigabyte at a cost of 20 paisa. Okay. Our goal is to take it to 10 paisa. The industry is at a level of maybe something like close to 10 times or 20 times larger cost structure than ours.
So how you reduce cost?
So there are multiple things which go into that, and one of the things is of course the small cell architecture that we have built. Today we are the only wireless broadband company which provides. So whose competitions are all wireline companies. We don't compete with any wireless company. Okay. Have you seen anybody else's wireless broadband connection in the home or in an office? No. They'll all be wireline connections. Okay. So we are competing head on with the wireline cost structure. Now there the advantage is on the capex side. So the capex required for us to produce a home connection end to end is we have already achieved a cost structure of around $100. Okay. Now this compares if you were to build a new fiber plant, dig the roads, lay the fiber, do the DSL connection, it will cost you around $800. Okay. So there is a 1:8 cost advantage in terms of the wireline alternative cost structure for providing home connectivity or business connectivity. And if you look at the running cost compared to the mobile companies, we are almost 1/10 of that. Okay. So both of these we have achieved. Now the reason we have achieved is that one, we don't have any spectrum cost to pay because I'm using a globally unlicensed band of 5.8 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz. Of course, it's very tough to operate in an unlicensed band. There's a lot of interference. So you have to do some very smart and special work to mitigate the interference, which we have done. We have perfected that over the last 3 years period. It was not easy road. And initially, our network was pretty unstable, and there were a lot of interference issues and all. Now we have overcome by creating a lot of technology innovation. So today we provide a very high quality connection, right, which is capable of delivering you 4 Mbps speed on a regular, consistent basis, and you can consume,
Right? Do you think that the circles that you've purchased are strong enough in terms of penetration to compete with other players?
Very large. I mean, for the price that we were really lucky actually. So if you look at the 4G spectrum alone, so All India bid was around $2.7 billion if you recollect. Yeah. Right? Now we paid 8% of that money to acquire these 5 circles. But these 5 circles contain in them 29% population of India and around close to 23-22% of the telecom revenue. Okay. So you pay 8% to get 23%. Right? That's a huge advantage. Yeah. So we are actually in the same auction. If you compare with other 4G spectrum owners in the market, their cost structure on a like-to-like basis, on a per megahertz basis, is more than 4 times our cost structure. Okay. So we were exceptionally lucky.
Another point I want to touch upon is that you had put in August of last year a tender for $200 million to acquire or to work with partners for bringing in 4G equipment and LTE equipment. Who won that tender finally, and what is the situation of that purchase?
No, that wasn't any value tender. It was basically a tender for covering the certain part of the territories that we wanted to do, and of course there is a planning for the entire 5 circle. So we have got a full plan, and then within that there are phase 1 plan, phase 2 plan, like that. So that's basically how any operator would kind of ask for proposal to evaluate the technology options that are available. So we are kind of still at the finishing point of completing that evaluation negotiations. They are going on. And we will announce a suitable time who is the winner in our various circles.
All right. One thing that got people's feathers ruffled was the shutting down of operations in 13 cities from 38. Now, well, you have said before that it was a consolidation effort to bring in markets where you all were making more revenues.
Yeah.
But could you just throw light on what is it finally and why did you actually back out from those cities?
So there's no backing out. We temporarily stopped the growth operation there. See, basically you need to have certain minimum operation scale. Otherwise, it becomes a subscaled and under-optimized operation. So of course, we have planned to go for many more cities, and the limited capital that we had deployed that, and we had some more equipment available. So we went ahead and deployed in some more cities actually.
Okay.
But these cities that we closed out were having only about less than 200 odd base stations in each of the city.
Okay.
Right. So total 2,000 base stations out of the 43,000 that we had at that time. We found that these 2,000 are in a very early stage. So we hadn't even started our operations there.
Okay.
We just spent a few months there, and we said, okay, let's fold it back.
Okay.
Right, and they stay put in the top 25. And once we have broken even in this circle operation, then we will go and expand.
Okay.
So today now, we are sort of making a telecom history.
Okay.
Most of the telecom projects, how long do they take to go for break even? Right?
That's true.
Usually it will take 7
You would say that you would want to break even by the end of this year.
Yes, so we are well along that way, and in this financial year, going forward, we should be able to break even, and that will be the fastest break even any telecom company has achieved. Right? We have today 4 cities already broken even. So we have Bombay operations which are positive, Pune operations that are positive, now Bangalore operation that is positive, and Surat is heading towards that. So we are, gradually every month there are 1 or 2 cities which are getting positive in operation, and that's something which is pretty good news for us. So.
The topic of capital, now that you have mentioned and thrown light on it, you had said before also that you may be very close to seeing a successful round with another private equity, and there has been talks and reports of 1,000 crores being raised.
We did intermediate rounds. We had our own investors. We've done a couple of rights issue.
Okay.
We raised more capital for our operations and continuing.
When was this?
This has been there. There was a issue which was about 8 months ago, and then there was one a year before, earlier than that.
No, I'm talking
as the needs are there, then we keep raising the capital.
I'm talking about after December of last year. You had said that probably
for the large scale LT deployment, we will be in the market. We will go out and in the next 1 or 2 quarters and try to raise the capital for our.
So this is 1,000 crores that you're looking for.
Yeah, there will be something of that, but that 1,000 crores is not needed for first year.
Okay.
1,000 crores is needed for the peak funding period, which will be, let's say, coming 4 years of operation.
Okay.
And you don't really need to raise all of that money all at once. So it all depends on who you're talking to and what your strategy is going forward.
Now, at the end of FY11, you had come to at least about 68 crores. So as of 2012, what is the consolidated revenue?
So I'm not sure that, but I'm going to disclose all the numbers right now. But we are continuing to grow every year at a pretty healthy pace, and going towards the EBITDA.
What is the growth rate at least you're targeting?
So we've been growing every year more than 50%.
Okay.
Revenue operations.
I see. This is consolidated even with Infinite now?
Yeah, so this is consolidating. And in fact, by the way, the Infinite is also heading towards break-even in its own way.
All right.
We added several new enterprise customers into that fold, and that operation is also expanding.
Is there any other acquisition target that you would look at right now to think of in the market?
Well, at a right time, there is scope for everything, so we can't preclude anything.
Okay.
But anything which plays strategically into the fit of our vision architecture is going to be immensely useful.
Now that you have mentioned that you will be looking to raise more money from private equity, will that mean further dilution of stake, or will that mean that your existing investors will want to put in more money, or are you looking at some sort of?
Well, I didn't say private equity alone. It could be all types of options. There are people who have been showing a lot of interest into what work we have been doing, and you keep hearing about here and there.
So is that some sort of an insinuation that Axiata is?
No, there are. I mean, I won't name anything, but there are no nothing is excluded here.
Okay.
But we are very clear that we should continue to keep our head down.
Okay.
And as we keep on expanding the value of the work that we have done, obviously we will become more and more attractive for lots of people. So whether they bring in strategic capital or they bring in financial capital, both are welcome, right? And we will make to, as long as the vision architecture is not tempered with, which is something which we are very clear about. What we want to do is very clear to us, right? The means of that can come from variety of other. We are flexible on that. So it could be.
So you can confirm right now that you are in talks with people.
No, we are not immediately in talks, but we would be in talks at the appropriate time. So today we are still having our work cut out. We have the resources, we have the current AOP objectives, and we are busy with that.
We all know very well is that Reliance is still not yet mentioned anything on the 4G side, whether it's on the tariff or whether it's on how they're going to roll out. But when they do, it will be a big disruption in the market. What do you expect the market to change in terms of pricing and in terms of its effect on 3G when they do enter?
I am afraid, right? No matter which big fish you are talking about, none of them is interested to go into this space of providing the cheap data. They are all towards that, because the $30 billion voice market is attached to that same mobility play. So you have 30 billion of voice market, right? And so when you sell a smartphone, first application even today for your smartphone is voice. And then you're choosing which one is better from the data point of view, right? So whether it's going to be iPhone or a Samsung tab, those kind of decisions you're making. But still you carry the device all the time with you because you want to, have the phone connectivity. So voice and the mobility, the voice and mobile data go together. And that's one size of the pie. And my hunch is that almost all of the mobile telcos, because of the nature of what they have been, are focused into that market. So it's going to be a red ocean market. It's going to be today, even now in India, it's a 7-player market, 8-player market. It's going to get even more, dangerous. Right? 3G spectrum is very limited. They put $30 billion into that 3G thing. It's not going anywhere.
So what happens with 3G now?
I don't know. You tell me. So here's a 30 paisa per megabyte factory versus there is a 2 paisa per megabyte factory, right? Like what India wants. What India wants is, that's why it's like, doesn't it remind you of 16 rupees per minute days of mobile, of telephony? We had those days. Right? And how many, was the masses giving traction to that concept? So if you really want to play India, you have to talk affordability. You need to talk about 1/10 the cost structure. And we are very clear on that. That's what we have learned in our past life. My stint with Reliance taught me all of these things. So these are very central part of our core vision architecture, that we are going to be the cost leaders in the market.
Will Tikona want to go IPO?
Anything is possible. But there is timing, there is right timing for everything.
Alright. On that, sir, thank you for talking to this.